plate appearance, which was really cool to see. His parents were there, his sister was there, they're going crazy. Um, I wasn't expecting Beatty to come up this soon, but obviously, he has a really nice swing. He hits the ball hard. Defense, a little bit of a question, but I don't know, man. He looks legit to me. I mean, obviously, it's a very small sample, but he tore up the minors this year, and we're seeing that he has that ability to make some really hard contact.
Man, I was
I
just
was,
looking at the. Go ahead, Sarah, if you want.
no, go for it.
Well, I was just thinking like that. So I do a lot of the write ups that we have at NBC Sports Edge, like the player news blurbs, and there have been so many guys from that 2019 draft that I've written about recently, and I think we're going to talk about a bunch of them. But if you look back at the top of that draft, Adley Rutschman was number 1, Bobby Witt Jr. number 2, Andrew Vaughn, J.J. Bleday, Riley Green, C.J. Abrams. This is in order. Nick Lodolo, Josh Young, Shea Langoliers, Alek Manoah, Brett Baty, Bryson Stott, George Kirby. It's like, and you could even, that's when Michael Harris II got drafted, and we're going to talk about him. It's an unbelievable, it's going to like go down in history. I mean, it's a little bit early to say that, but it's going to go down in history as like one of the most fruitful drafts talent wise. And I've, not to get away from the Beatty discussion, but I've been like toying with the idea of, so these guys get drafted in June 2019, and then none of them played professional baseball in 2020. Do you think there's something there to like there being a gap year? Like these kids play baseball their entire lives, and then they get to not actually have to go through I'm sure they're working out hard, but the rigors of like traveling an entire baseball season. We saw it with Buster Posey. He came back roaring last year after sitting out the 2020 season. I haven't come to any conclusions, but it would kind of make sense, like just physically and there's no way to like actually plan this into a guy's career. You don't really want them to have a gap year, but I'm sure that kind of benefited some of these guys in a way. I don't know.
I feel like that's a thing with all athletes. I mean, my mom, who is a huge sports fan, is always texting me about her idea of time off. You look at even tennis players like Roger Federer. Now he hasn't played in a while, but he had a period where he was injured, came back, was really good. Similar with a Rafael Nadal, whoever else. And I mean, I do think there could be something to that. The other thing is some of these guys were at the alternate site. So they may have gotten the chance to kind of learn from their peers, and also those who are maybe a couple, rungs ahead of them in development while not dealing with travel and everything else. So that could be part of it too.
Yeah, and during that time, they could have focused on a certain area of their game. We saw that with Tyler McGill. Added a lot of velocity that year, and not a lot of people knew it because he didn't really have any eyes on him. So some of these players came out of that year with maybe their body's a little bit different. Maybe they worked out more and added muscle. Maybe they changed their setup and their swing. There's so much that we kind of really didn't know that happened during that year. I mean, the players that Drew mentioned, like they were drafted to be, impact players. And so far, that's been the case. I think it's a combination of raw talent, but also, we see players make adjustments all the time.
Yeah, the ability to like just build your body and, like you said, focus on individual things without having to worry about taking real at bats or like making real pitching appearances. There's probably, again, there's no way to actually like, implement this into like a regular baseball season where the world is a little bit back to normal. Back to Beatty though, like what do you think he stays? What do you think the plan is here? It's not like they have,
Eduardo Escobar has an oblique thing. He expects to return when he's eligible, but he hasn't had a great year. And he was essentially being platooned with Luis Guillorme, who is now hurt. So I think there will still be a chance that Beatty can keep his role, and if he hits, he's gonna stay. They'll find playing time for him. But to kind of bring it back to the body discussion, so this morning on MLB Central, there was a really good segment with Mark DeRosa and Sean Casey breaking down Beatty's swing. And one thing that Mark DeRosa mentioned was like he was comparing like the high school version of Beatty with the minor. I think it was a minor league clip, but either way, he was a lot thicker in high school, and he's more like wiry now. So like you're growing into your body, and he also, I guess, wanted to be more agile to play third base, to prove he could stay at third. So I thought that was really interesting. And also earlier tonight, Keith Hernandez, he gave sort of like the badge of honor to Brett Baty, saying how beautiful his swing is. And he also said that he thinks the swing is better than Christian Yelich's swing when he was at the top of his game, which is an incredibly high praise. I'm not sure about that, but
Wow.
They have similar body types, right?
Yeah,
do.
I kind of see that like
Yeah.
visually. You know, like I can see why he was thinking of Yelich.
Yeah, Gary Cohen brought up Yelich because they do have that wiry kind of frame.
Yeah.
I think Beatty is 6'5",
Is he that
6'4".
big?
I think
Wow.
I think he's pretty tall. I'm just guessing based off what I think I know, but he's pretty tall. He's pretty wiry too. So I could see that comp coming out there. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But only a couple of days, but I've been impressed with what I've seen.